Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a very successful business broker who helps people buy and sell online e-commerce companies. His journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
They call it the silver tsunami, and that means so many baby boomers are aging out, retiring, and those baby boomers who happen to own companies, sometimes they can't pass it on to their kids are not interested in their business. That's when they come to a guy like my next guest, Dave Micek. He's with Website Closers. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
Okay, now I understand Website Closers is a really big company.
Yes, it is. It's actually the leader in that business. It's a 14-year-old company that has grown by multiples. Sure. And we've become the leader in the segment, and we market a wide variety, the most companies in the industry.
We're going to pull up your website, and as we scroll down the website, I want to note that this is a hot time for buying and selling businesses, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the e-commerce, online and e-commerce world and marketplace has exploded. Everybody's seen that with Amazon, with Etsy, with eBay and whatnot. Being a part of that sort of revolution, a lot of people have jumped in and started stores and storefronts or selling from their own website.
Sure.
And become very, very successful. And once they do that and build a successful business, they then start thinking about exiting. Okay, and these companies can sell based on their sales, based on their profitability. They can sell very, very well, and they can make a very nice exit paycheck, and then many times start another company. Sure. Or retire, or whatever they choose.
And Dave, it really pays off to get a specialist like yourself, somebody who buys and sells tech businesses. It's different than somebody who buys and sells businesses.
It is very complicated. Yes, it's more complicated than buying a house. Okay, because you have many more people involved. You have a lot of emotion involved because, and you have emotion with a house, but even more with a business because they've worked it every day. Sure. They've invested their earnings, their retirement in many cases, and so this is their baby. Okay, and they many times hate to give it up. Okay, and it's a pulling away, but they also need somebody that can guide them through the process.
Sure.
That is an expert in knowing the law, knowing the rules, knowing how to negotiate, that can guide them and give them advice to get the highest price possible along this selling process, marketing and selling process that we've become experts at after being in the business for 14 years.
What's one of your favorite stories, success stories?
Oh, I've had a number of them, but one that really sticks in my mind. I'm here in Texas, and so I work out of Dallas, Texas. I do a lot of business in the Texas area, and I signed a company early on that was out of Austin. They lived in the hill country in Austin, sort of fairly far out in the country. They homeschooled their own children and whatnot. And it was a husband and wife team, and the wife had a skin problem, and she would put on skincare products and makeup, and her skin would break out. It would be terrible. So she wanted to solve this problem. And she was a very smart lady, a very smart couple, and she had a little bit of help. Her father was a chemist, okay, and she was on a quest to find out how she could formulate some products that would not cause this reaction and whatnot. And then she went online, talked to a lot of people online, found out a lot of girls and women had the same problem. Well, she started off looking at ingredients. She knew nothing about it. Her dad helped her a bit. They built a hermetically clean building on their property.
Sure.
Okay. And she started buying materials and contents and components and mixing them and trying them on her own skin and seeing what reactions. And lo and behold, after about a year, they actually developed a set of products that she could tolerate very, very well. And they were a very resourceful couple. They ended up doing A to Z. Mixing their own components for about half the products, not all of them, but things that they could mix, eyeshadow and powders and stuff in the room. They would buy the bottles, they would put the labels on themselves, they would mail it, take the orders, they had a website, and they grew like wildfire. They just exploded. After about 4.5 years, they were ready to move to the next step. And so they were looking for a company that could really get the most value for them, the highest price, who could communicate to the market, to the broadest market out there, to have the chance to have the best sale. And they came to Website Closers, and we successfully sold that business. We actually sold it to a couple, another husband and wife team, who the lady was a winner of the Miss World pageant.
Wow.
So she really knew a lot about makeup and cosmetics and skincare and whatnot. And the couples just meshed together,
Yes.
And they really hit it off. And they actually put in an offer on the business the day that we presented to them. That day. It was only the second day that it was on the market. And we ended up selling their business and actually selling it for more than the asking price.
Wow.
So that was kind of I always remember that. I still keep in touch with those couple, and that was one that was special.
We've got some video from our library that we're going to show right now of just businesses being bought and sold. And I have to imagine that you also become something of a counselor, because so many of these sales are very personal. This is their baby. They grew this thing sometimes for decades. And so talk about the emotional attachment people have to their business.
Yes, it's a little bit of counselor, psychologist. There's a lot of factors, many times family factors. Multiple people in the family have been involved. They've got pangs about selling the business more times than not. It's their baby, it really is. Sure. And so they want the best for it. They want to make sure that it's going to continue to grow and somebody isn't going to take it into the ground.
Sure.
So there's a lot of working closely with the seller to make sure they're comfortable, a lot of communication, and certainly the goal to get the highest price possible for their hard work, their investment that they've made.
Talk about the lending environment right now, because some people are having to go to the bank to borrow.
Yes.
Are you finding that the banks are pretty friendly?
Well, they always have. A large amount of our sales have always been under SBA, Small Business Association. It really, for a small business, it is the best rates that you can get. You can get a 10-year amortized loan. You can get with good credit and all of the requirements. You can get in for a minimum of only 10% down. So there's a lot of advantages to get SBA. But the company needs to be SBA approved, so it needs to have met certain criteria and profitability ratios and whatnot. The customer has to meet certainly the guidelines and whatnot. But if that all comes together, an SB loan is really the cheapest and the best way to go. Now, we certainly have loans that are financed directly with cash through other banks, traditional funding. We have very larger loans. So we work a broad range of customer base, all the way from the smaller businesses that are $1 million or even less than $1 million, the middle range from $1 million to $20 million in sales price, all the way up to hundreds of millions of dollars. So we get into the middle market and we get into the PE world and at that very high end. But the majority of our business is probably about 10 million and below, and certainly we have a very strong business at the 2-3 million, and then even a good number under 1 million.
So Dave, we have about 2 minutes left. If somebody's watching this right now and they say, I think I found my business broker, what's the next step? They contact you, do you sit down and have a meeting or a Zoom meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. They can contact me at my email address, Micek, D-M-I-C-E-K, at websiteclosers.com. I'm here in Dallas. We can meet together, we can go over your business, look at what it's done, look at the financials, look at the segment that it's in. Different segments have different valuations. And actually, I do a free valuation of the business. And then we go from there on how we would take the business to market and discuss the plan on how to get the highest price for the business and what the business could bring based on the market conditions that are in place now or in the future or whenever they're ready to sell. And a price is determined. Our company puts together the whole package. We then distribute it and list it out to the widest audience possible. Over 1 million people of buyers who are buyers see our listings. And so we have the widest net out there of any company out there. And we get a lot of people who are interested in buying companies that we offer for sale.
Outstanding. You've been a great guest. We're going to end with the website one more time, which is websiteclosers.com. The great Dave Micek. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.